Over 1500 hours, 40 achievements, 100 levels achieved, 20 different Lord characters, and a maximum of diamond on ranked games. What does this do to a man? Okay, let me explain. The game does some amazing things while also doing some horrific things. And I tried every possible mode, trophy, tactic, role and mechanic to fully understand the game to its fullest. Now, while I do have a huge amount of time spent on this game, I am nothing compared to a professional player. I am more of a casual player who invested a lot of time to give you my honest take on Marvel Rivals. I embarked on this journey just to see if the game lived to the expectation and give you my honest opinion on the titanic hero shooter that's dominating the market at the moment. Do I think the game is good? Yes, absolutely. But there's a lot of things that I despise about it too. And when I say despise it, I don't just say it to spark controversy. I truly mean it. I played all seasons of the game, both in console and PC, and I've seen the evolution of this game after its patches. I've seen the meta changing, the seasons pass, I even purchased the battle pass to see if the value is even worth it. But let's tackle the basics first. It's a hero shooter, first and foremost. I was not part of the Overwatch hype when it was first launched, mainly because I did not have a gaming PC at the time, so my first experience with that game was through Overwatch 2. Yeah, tell me about bad luck. And I gotta say that while the game was entertaining and fun, I wasn't too invested in it. Maybe it's because of the numerous issues that a lot of people point out compared to the first installment, where the developers fixed issues that didn't need to be fixed to begin with. Or maybe it wasn't my jam, we'll never know. However, this game instantly clicked on me. I'm not sure if it's the visual art style, the third-person perspective, the characters, the lore, the music or the gameplay itself, but it was an instant click. And it was because one of my friends insisted me on playing it, and so I did. On the PS5. Let me tell you, if you are a good player on console, kudos to you, because for me, this game is impossible to play on console. I prefer PC. Also, you can't cross-play during ranked games, so if you are going to play ranked, it has to be with the same platform as you're currently playing. But more importantly, is it a good Marvel game? Yeah, compared to other games before that were either nice, good enough or meh. This one stands out. From the art style, graphics, mechanics, music, sound engineering, everything feels like a chef's kiss. I gotta say that before I realized I had put a ton of hours into this game before I even thought about making a video about it. That would explain why I haven't uploaded in a while, but that's a different story. But when this game came out, although I wasn't very thrilled by the idea, I have to admit that it became addictive. The more I won, or the more I lost, the more I wanted to play. Try a different role, try a different map, a new mode, different comps, city team-ups. Not a single match ever felt like the previous one. It's like an adrenaline rush that you get when you pop your ult and you manage to pull off a sick hexa kill. You may not be doing the same exact thing on the following match, but if you still enjoy what you achieve in your match if you played your role accordingly. It's the perfect mix between the visuals, the music, the sound effects, the destructible environment, the character interactions, the fact that you can change your character mid-game to try a different strategy to turn around a match that would have seemed lost. It just makes you want to play more and more. One moment you're killing it as Black Panther, and the next match you're doing terrible as him. You change to the Thing and bam, you won the game. It's these kinds of things that make you want to keep playing. By the way, I know I mentioned the music already, but you gotta admit that they cooked when they made the music of this game. My god, it's on another level, I'm telling you. And the OST matches to perfection every single stage that you play in. From Wakanda to Ixgard, from Tokyo 2099 to Clinta. Not a single theme song feels like the previous one. Also, can we give a massive shout out to the voice actors? While we may be used to the actors in the MCU, the developers chose the right actors for every single character in the game. It's like the voices match so well with them that it feels like this is what they are supposed to sound like in the first place. Not only for the one-liners, but also in the way they interact with each other from time to time, making you wonder how these would get along if they met or were in the same room. Sound design, it's quite top-notch. I also enjoy the attention to detail to even the smallest thing, like the sound you make when hitting an enemy depending on what they're made of or if they have any shield. Like when you have Rocket's chain gun and you hit Groot, it's frustrating to kill him but satisfying. Same with Moon Knight's bouncing blades. Whenever you hit multiple targets at once, it's gaming ASMR. On another note, it may be because I'm not used to ranked games anymore, but I'm quite surprised to see the ranking system not ending up in a tier above Diamond. Here you have Grandmaster, Celestial, Eternity and One Above All, references to comic books from the Marvel Universe. Unfortunately, due to the matchmaking system this game has, I highly doubt I will be able to ever be in one of these ranks. I'll get to this later. That makes it really easy to identify the gaming level of each player, but that's not always the case, mind you. You may be facing a bronze player who's actually really good at the game but just plays for fun and doesn't really play ranked at all. Other times you may encounter a grandmaster player who was just trying a character they never played while also not having their 8 hours sleep and end up throwing immediately. But most of the time, ranks do align with the gaming ability of each player. Also, what I love about this game is the way the roles are described differently than any other games. While we do call them DPS, tank and support, their respective names are Vanguard, Strategist and Duelist, and it makes sense. Vanguards aren't there just to take damage. Sure, it's something they do more often than not, but their role is also to open space, protect other players and to be in the front line while some heal and shield you. The rest can kill, advance and flank the enemy team. Strategist's role isn't just to heal, even though it's the main function they have in the game. They also stun, protect and boost other players. Sometimes a strategist can do so much damage that rather than healing a teammate, it's better to kill the enemy to ensure both of you survive. Duelists also have different ways of playing. Sometimes you need someone who does constant damage from a distance, sometimes you need to flank the enemy strategist, and other times you need to take out the enemy vanguards to close the space. It's this sort of chess where every single role needs to do what's requested from them. Sometimes a good comp requires 3 duelists and a vanguard, while other times it just needs 2 duelists and 1 vanguard but 3 strategists. It's a matter of adapting and overcoming a difficulty you will most likely encounter in the game. Regardless of that, Marvel Rivals has become an addictive game that simply makes you want to play more and more as time goes by. I remember one day spending literally 8 hours playing non-stop, and even I had to stop myself and I say, I need to touch grass, like literally, and I couldn't because it was night already. But I think that this is thanks to the experience from NetEase. I mean, they are the property owners of a lot, and I mean a lot of mobile games, and these were specifically created to be addictive, meaning that you will see a lot of the addictive features here in this game as well. Like, just check the skin reward system as well. While any game requires you to purchase cosmetics and others for the game to be profitable, this game also gives you a lot of options in events weekly, monthly or even by achievements to get free skins. Sometimes all you got to do is to complete challenges during certain events and you'll get a skin with no problem. Other times you just don't purchase the battle pass and you still get very good skins and so on. In a way, it is very rewarding and it also gives you a lot of options to purchase them without the use of real money. I did purchase all battle passes so far, and even when I completed all the rewards it had to offer, at the end you can see an option of exchanging your battle pass currency for the one you use to purchase skins. There's always a way to get more if you invest the right amount of time. Oh, and I almost forgot to tell you this. The developers are not afraid to experiment with new modes either. If you don't feel like playing a classic hero shooter, you'll also have access to other modes: deathmatch, auto chess, team deathmatch, you name it. I'm glad to see a game that's not afraid to experiment with different features over time to avoid mental exhaustion in its player base. So many people tend to quit these games because it becomes repetitive or doesn't add any novelty to an already existing product. And if the mode doesn't do well as they expected, they'll listen to your feedback and see what works and what doesn't. Speaking of feedback, you gotta give credit to the developers for the constant feedback reception they have. Whenever a global issue was presented, they've been quick to act immediately to ensure it doesn't affect its players, whether it was the rank reset during mid-season or the game crashing over the Nvidia driver update. I can't say this company is deaf towards complaints because they have acted really quickly when an issue was presented, and that speaks volumes of the company. But now, while I do praise this game for all the things that it has done well, there's also a lot of things that annoyed, enraged, and pissed me off. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. It may sound like it discredits everything I said earlier, and in a way, it does. But the most frustrating thing is that some of these things can be fixed while others can't, and I'll explain later. The things I hate. The roles. You know, I really wish it were different, but the player base of Marvel Rivals is one hell of a headache. Seriously, from the social media aspects to the gameplay itself. It's not enough that you have to deal with the worst kind of people inside of the game, but outside of it as well. You get a moronic team who rages over mistakes they do, ruining your elo or your match, and then you deal with the drama outside of the game, from streamers rage-baiting viewers to get more attention in their VODs, whiny babies making support strikes, and the constant discussions of know-it-all idiots who start spitting slurs over which Lord Icon is the best. It's stupid. But even if I were to ignore the aspects on social media, it's undeniable how insufferable players are inside of the game. Seriously, every single role seems to show any sign of underdevelopment of the grey matter inside of their heads. From strategists who won't heal you even when you're literally next to them, vanguards charging into battle thinking they are indestructible, and don't you even expect a duelist to play any other role. Remember when I corrected the names before? Well, scratch that. Here are the real names for every role. Rotten brains, delusional morons, entitled bitches. These are the real names for these roles, and I can say it because I played as all of them. If you deal with the average rotten brain of a strategist, they will choose the worst possible character for the match. And a warlock isn't a bad choice at all, and it can create an insufferable situation for any diver or ultimate. But my brother in Christ, maybe you should change if you have died 15 times in a row, even when we are protecting you. And not just that, let's assume it's not Adam Warlock, it's a Mantis. Well, too bad for you. It's actually a duelist who didn't want to play strategist and will only go for the kills rather than boosting or healing you. Oh, but that's not all. How about when you get a low kid that doesn't support your team, puts his clones on a balcony and attacks the enemy team but never heals you, or any area ultimate from Luna, Sue or Cloak that they save until the release of Marvel Rivals 3. And before you say anything, I have Lord icons on multiple support characters, so I played strategist for a while now. I don't want to hear you whining about healers not being appreciated. They are only appreciated when they actually do what they are supposed to do. And if you're laughing at this, I'm glad. But if you're a vanguard, aka a delusional moron, you're not guilty free. Oh no, my boy, because I played strategist as well, and I gotta say this. You're not playing Dark Souls, you knobhead. Stop rushing to the enemy team if both of your strategists are dead because of Spider-Man or Black Panther. You love jumping as the Hulk, running as the Thing, and even getting that sweet Quadra or Penta with Doctor Strange. But who's going to heal you if you fail to kill even a single one of them? Or even worse, are you really gonna charge at the enemy if I'm the only one healing you because our Jeff is still trying to be a DPS even in Season 2.5? Also, you want me to heal you, don't you? Yeah, you're about to die and you need me to give you that sweet juice called healing. This is what I suggest. Get out of the fucking wall! I get it, you're being targeted and need to cover. Stop asking for heals if I'm not even close to you, you imbecile! It's your fault you're in such a dire situation to begin with. I'm trying to clean up your mess, so check where I am and get closer, you rotten bag of potatoes! But nothing, and I mean it, nothing compares to the nightmare that it is to play with the worst role of them all. The one where every single person suffers from main character syndrome. There's a reason I reserved this name for this class, because you can't win a game without them. But my god, the world would be better if we could. That's right, we're talking about the entitled bitches, aka duelists. Listen, I get it. You love dopamine. Daddy left home, never returned, and you want to feel alive again. You see the marker going up in numbers, you see your score, and you feel gratified with your results. I get it, I feel the same way, but without the part where I shove a finger up my ass and then smell it like you do. But you need to understand that each team has 6 players, with a total of 12 per match. That means 6 on our team, 6 on the opponent's side. So let's do the math here. If I, either strategist or vanguard, I'm not there next to you when you want to 1v1 the thing with Spider-Man, what do you think it's happening, huh? I'll give you some choices. A. I am dead because I was protecting our strategist being targeted by the Iron Fist. B. I am dead because I was healing the other duelist who got dived by a venom and a thing. C. Because I don't like you and I prefer to lose rather than to do any of my jobs. Please, my boy, take a wild guess. I want you to guess as there's no wrong answer. Trick question, it was none of them. It's because you thought you could dive an entire team by yourself on the other side of the map and you wanted us to magically teleport to your location and act as a shield and armor every single second. It's no wonder you are so hated by the entire community, as you are the reason why so many people simply stop playing Vanguard or Strategist. You are scum and you know it. Get off your horse, stop pretending you are the main character, get to cover and do your job accordingly. The matchmaking. Dear Lord, isn't the matchmaking a piece of smelly doo-doo? Because it truly is. Like, you go into a ranked game, 4 people instant lock DPS and assume you're going to heal all of them. Not a single one of these gooners see that we only have one healer because the other guy is going tank, and yet they keep asking over and over and over again for fucking heals. You want heals? Be the healer, you dimwit. The matchmaking system makes sure to pair you with the most mentally impaired people possible. Strategists go into the front line, Vanguard staying in the back, duelist constantly dying and blaming the strategist. It's always the same story. And not only that, you also get paired against the most advanced and coordinated team in the world, who will coordinate the most perfect synchronized play to wipe your team in seconds while getting 4 extra minutes as a bonus. While they defend, they become the Great Wall of China and your team suddenly decides it's a great idea to have 5 DPS because there's not enough damage, instead of flanking them or protecting the backline. It's pure psychotic behavior and I'm not the only one on this take. The entire community is fed up and tired of this unbalanced matchmaking. It's kind of like there's a scheduled loss you need in your history for some reason to keep the 50-50 ratio intact. You can never get an amazing winning streak where you win 3 to 5 ranked matches in a row. But Necros did the support and banger challenge and got the Celestial very easily. Yeah, guess what? I've smurfed too, and I've seen the win streak increasing since then. When you play with a new account and play against inexperienced players while also being one of the top 500 players in the world, of course it's going to be easy for you. I'm talking about the reality of the rest of the world. I'm not even talking about the results specifically, because I would be more than glad to accept defeat if the other team surpassed us with clever tactics or if it was a very close match. But the fact that people throw the game constantly, that you're forced to play with idiots that bring you down while you're constantly adapting to them so that they can do their job, is just pure insanity. And by the way, if you actually perform well in your games and you are the exception to the rule, as there always is, then don't be offended. This is not about you. This is about everyone else who barely even grasps your role or even attempts to do so. There's always those people who are like, well, I'm a good healer. Good. Keep being a good healer. We're not talking about you, just your group. I'm part of that group, and I do the bare minimum at my worst. Also, do we take into account the toxicity within the game, like troll games? Because I'm not sure if any of these pro players face these issues, but at least for me, I have had people literally throwing games for not being able to play their favorite characters. For example, this game, where this dude decided to ban my main vanguards simply because we chose to ban Spider-Man and I was the first one to vote. He picked Magneto, stayed in base all game and forced us to lose, and this is just one example of many. This is the only one I chose to record, but I counted a total of 36 games. 36 games where people troll for moronic reasons. So while I do understand the message of some pro players telling you that you have to carry the game and be the best player in your team, the reality is that this is a team game. And while you adapt to help other players so that they can help you carry them, we are stuck with arseholes who want to lose on purpose. And let's say you don't want to play ranked games, you want to play just casuals for the fun. It's even worse. Since there's no ranking system and you get no penalties on your elo, people choose to play whatever they want and prefer to lose rather than adapting to the match. I can't tell you how many times I've encountered games where I wanted to play DPS after 15 games in a row as either Vanguard or Strategist, only to be found with 4 other DPS because the Vanguard chose to pick Hog and they had the orgasmic need to play auto-aim Namor with lasers and Iron Man with gamma explosions. It's frustrating to the point where it stops being enjoyable. Seriously, you play support, you play tank, you play whatever people need and they still lose on purpose simply because there's no penalty. Also, you know how the game offers a mode where you can play against bots just to practice? How is it that if you lose a certain amount of times in a row, you end up playing against bots on quick play? Seriously, I checked this info multiple times by myself and I could not believe it either. There were moments where I lost either 2 or 3 times in a row on quick play and I was placed in a match against bots. I get it, the game wants you to get your adrenaline shot of dopamine by actually winning a game that's almost impossible to lose. How about you stop being condescending and give me a real match against real people? Don't give me the typical, maybe there's no available players at that moment, because I would rather wait for a match to be available than to comfort myself by playing against tutorial bots who clearly are engineered to be easier to defeat. Because there is still another factor to keep in mind. When the game puts you in another game where another player quit the match just to fill the missing spot. Oh! Really, game? You want me to adapt to a match where I don't know where our weak points are, where every single one of the enemy team has ultimate ready, and for me to enjoy this match in the last remaining 5 seconds? Are you serious? The community. I am Latino and I play in the South American server, which is located in Sao Paulo. Do you know how many times I've been insulted for speaking Spanish or not being able to speak Portuguese? Like, I try to communicate with my teammates and ask them to tell me what they need from me so I can adapt to them, only to be told, get your own server, or I don't speak tacos, or you are poor and I can purchase your family with 1 real. This is such a level of toxicity in this game with little to no repercussion at this point. Even when you supposedly report them, you will find these people on the next match, in your team or the opposite side, being the most sociopathic Neanderthals whose ego is as large as my penis when you subscribe to my channel. You make me very happy, baby. But seriously, maybe I am a bit outdated when it comes to online games, but even in the worst era of League of Legends, I had never seen such level of toxicity in a game. Remember the guy who wanted Spider-Man and trolled the entire game that I mentioned earlier? What I didn't tell you is that he added me after the game just so he could write every possible slur in existence. This guy took the time to reach out to me just to insult me, slander, and make sure that I read what he said. Of course, that did not affect me, but it did surprise me that it happened 9 more times with other players. And even when you report them, the developers do absolutely nothing. Like, there's a very rare occasions where you get a notification of an action that was taken, but when it comes to serious cases like these ones, they just don't care. Lord characters. Remember when I said I achieved Lord status on 20 different characters? Well, that means absolutely nothing. Well, there is some truth in being scared of a Lord Hela or Hawkeye in the enemy team because it shows they are really experienced with that character. That means absolutely nothing in the long term, as many players have Lord status on characters they don't play well at all. An example of this is my Lord Spider-Man, where as you can see it has a massive amount of points. But that's because I only play Spider-Man on casual games, because I refuse to play with him on ranked games because I know I suck. And even so, don't trust every single lord that you see on a match. While learning how to play Venom, I accidentally stumbled upon a match where people were farming lord icons, and they literally would not play the objective and just farm damage, blocks and heals just to get the lord icon. I feel like this is very disheartening because a lord icon is supposed to represent your experience with the character, no matter how much it takes you to get the icon. While I did farm for just 5 minutes with Venom, I chose to continue with the match, win and move on. I encountered only one match where this happened, but apparently it is a very normal thing that people do nowadays. The rest of my characters, I leveled them up through genuine matchmaking. The bugs. I know games aren't 100% perfect, and all of them have technical defects, but the bugs in this game make it unplayable sometimes. The most infamous bug of all time, Black Panther reset. I've played Black Panther a lot lately, and while my dash isn't perfect and I miss a lot here and there is also an audio bug where you hear that you landed your reset after hitting a marked enemy only to see that you never got the reset to begin with. Like, I'm putting my trust in the development of this game so I can have an enjoyable experience only to be smushed in the arse by the lack of response from the development team. Sure, those fixes on Hela are nice and thank you for nerfing Jeff, but can you fix the reset on Black Panther? Also, there have been times where I pressed an ability only for it not to work, such as the Spider-Man swing. I know it's not my shift key because it works flawlessly in other games, but here it just doesn't work. Same goes with other abilities as Hulk's transformation, where I hit the transform into Monster Hulk while low on health and the game registers it, only to turn me into Bruce because apparently the enemy was faster even though the audio cue says otherwise. Wolverine grab just simply doesn't work right. So many times I try to grab an enemy only to end up flying above them, and when you do, sometimes it gets bugged. And I am glad to see that I am not the only one who saw this. I've seen many professional players such as Team Captain catching these bugs during a live stream. Twice. I wouldn't call these bugs necessarily, but poorly developed coding happens as well where the area doesn't really reflect the area of an ultimate. I've been swallowed by Jeff's ultimate while being in the air, got attacked by Psylocke by being outside of her radius, or even slammed to the ground while not even being close to the edge of Neymar's ultimate. It gets tiring because you try to adapt to the shenanigans of the game, but it seems like they just keep happening and growing as weeks go by. The unfixable. Okay, I do not have evidence for this bit, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it. Feel free to grab it with a grain of salt. I understand if you don't believe me or take me seriously, but this is just an opinion on the matter. I have worked for a mobile games company myself in the past and was able to see how the game operated internally. I've seen how some duels, matches or attacks are either coordinated through a campaign, bots or sometimes specific accounts created by the company to ensure that other players stop winning so much. I wouldn't be surprised if these games operate on a similar basis where campaigns are made to ensure that players lose with a certain amount of victories and defeats and so on. I know we are getting into the conspiracy territory here, as you can only take my word on it since I can't really provide any evidence of what I just said since I signed an NDA, but lots of mobile games have this tactic. I wouldn't be surprised if NetEase actually operated in the same way since they already have this much experience with other mobile games in their library. I mean, there is already leaked documentation from companies such as EA on how they manipulate their player base into spending money to get more skins or other products. If they know how to use this psychological warfare for people to spend money, why is it so hard to believe that they would do the same thing with the matchmaking system? Now, I know I am not a great player, I admit it, I am not a professional and I'm not planning on doing so. However, I don't understand how this recurring issue not only happens to me but to a lot of people as well, as if they got stuck while trying to reach a threshold they'll never be able to get. It also doesn't really make sense how most of the player base is stuck on a winning streak of 50-50. Again, I know this sounds like too much deduction without real proof, but I'm a very observing person with some experience in reading gaming logs, and I see a very similar pattern here being repeated for this game. Feel free to take my word for it or to let me know I'm just delusional. I'll accept your criticism due to the lack of evidence. Nonetheless, if the matchmaking system is an issue that requires to be fixed, it is my humble opinion to say that it's not a bug, it's a feature. You don't fix anything that's intended to be this way. Therefore, I highly doubt the game is going to improve anytime soon in its matchmaking issue. Okay, that was a huge rant about the things I hate about this game, which makes me look like I hate it and that I should not exist to begin with. That's not what I intend to tell. I'm just saying that there's so many good things happening that the bad ones really stand out. However, I'm not a contrarian. Rather than simply criticizing or giving a negative feedback, I prefer to suggest some changes to be implemented to improve the game's quality of life in the long term. Let me know if you agree or not. Unranked System. Create a mode of Unranked System for matchmaking. Let's say you want to play seriously but don't want to lose your elo on ranked games. How about you implement a mode where people choose a role they want to play and they can get into a match where others play that role? Sure, the queuing system might be long, but this is a queue created specifically for those who want to try a new hero or a new tactic without the risk of losing elo. Keep the quick play mode as it is, but give this option as well. You might as well just launch it as a test option to see how people react to it, and then you may decide if it's even worth keeping it or not in the future. UI design. Listen, I've gotten used to the menu UI after investigating it and getting the hang of it. However, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who had a difficult time learning how to navigate it. While it is not the worst UI I've ever seen in a video game, it certainly isn't the best one either. There's so much blank space below the options that's not being used in the right way, and for a newcomer it can be a bit overwhelming. If you don't plan to change the UI, at least give it a brief tutorial to teach the new player how to navigate it when first entering the game. Internal game achievements. This is a unusual bug that I'm not sure if the developers are aware of, but there is a feature for internal game achievements. Once completed, these allow you to get points to get new rewards. If you have reached the limit of available rewards and still claim the reward for completing a task, the progress is gone and it doesn't add up to the next season. It's a pretty small issue, but I think it's worth mentioning. UA session. I know this could end up in a huge money investment, but I think that there are still a lot of issues that require to be fixed and they still haven't done a thing about it. Since the company is open and welcoming towards feedback, how about you do an open session of a 1-hour stream, for example, to be open about the technical challenges you're working on. Example, you see that the feral leap from Wolverine is presenting multiple technical bugs and it hasn't been fixed and people have implored you to fix it. How about you just do a QA session where you just say, we're still trying to fix this problem, we'll get to this again in the next session for some updates. That way your community will know for sure that you're working on it and will be very appreciative of your transparency. And it doesn't need to be every single day or once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, and that will make people very happy. Even if you don't want to do a live stream to answer these questions, you might as well just record it and upload it on the official page, like whenever there's a new season change. Add restrictive mode on quick play. Listen, I know a lot of people will be angry about this, but what if you just add the option for console players not to play with PC players and vice versa? I know this would make the queuing times much longer, but there's been times where either platform would complain about the other since they can't communicate appropriately or don't have the resources to act or perform mechanics in the same fashion. So why not give them the option to choose if they want to play with other platforms as well? I'm pretty sure the majority will simply not mind and keep the crossplay active, but just an idea. Fix the autofield mechanic. Remember when I spoke about how the game puts you in a game where another player quit and you fill the role? I've got a fix for this. Put me in the game with some charge on my ultimates. If it is a domination match and it's the last round, give me 75% of charge on my ultimate to be paired with the rest of my team. Or give me 25% charge if our team is winning by 1 point. If you want me to keep up with the rhythm of a match I wasn't part of from the beginning, you might as well throw me a bone. Just do the math depending on the situation of our team and I will adapt accordingly. Be clear about sanctions. Listen, I'm going to drown myself here for admitting this, but I may not have been banned for saying a few mean words to my teammates here and there, and had my chat restricted due to the reports with evidence clear as day. I get it. It's my bad. I was toxic towards them. I can't justify it. I get it. I make a mistake. I lose my chat privileges. Why do I still get to read everyone else's chat, including my enemy? Why can't I ping if I need heals or if I want to warn my team? Rather than punishing the bad actions from my end, it feels like I'm being handicapped. I get it, I was toxic and said things I should not have said. Why does the enemy team get to be toxic towards us, and why isn't my report being taken into consideration when I'm reporting them? Also, I get that I can't chat specifically, and I'm okay with that. Why can't I ping my team? Honestly, this may be just my opinion on the matter, but this should be completely separate things. Side note, if you ever accuse anyone of cheating, bear in mind that the game automatically stops the match, tells you that a cheat has been detected on the game, and that the player who cheated will be penalized. So if you see someone sniping at you and is really good at what they do, if the match continues, it is very likely they're just really good at what they do. But hey, I believe that with everything I said, it should be clear that I love this game so much that seeing issues happening only infuriates me, because I want this game to keep its perfection and get rid of its problems. If you disagree with anything I said, let me know in the comments. I want to check your take on anything that I said so far. For me, on the other hand, I believe there's only one final thing to do, and it's to leave a review. After more than 1500 hours into the game, how will I ever describe it for the potential future players? Let's see. Oh, I got it. It's alright.
As you can see, the chair is already messed up. Alright? Nothing to worry about, it's already broken. So, this is gonna be for the prop. Don't worry about it, okay? If you want me to get a new chair, please like and subscribe. Thank you.